Let's do it.
Okay.
Oh, shit. What's up, everybody? Basement Crew's out here in Long Island City, Queens. About to talk to J.K. Woodward, artist of Fallen Angel. You've seen it with Peter David. So, I guess first question is, how did you get started working with Peter David on Fallen Angel in the first place?
I had just published a small press book with Digital Webbing Presents. It was an anthology book, and I did a 12-page story in it called Crazy Mary. And immediately sent it out to anybody that would look at it. And one of those people was Chris Rael at IDW. And what we were hoping is this little 12-page story would launch this series and we'd be famous and it'd be great. Didn't work out that way, but they did like the artist, me, so I got a job.
Where did you study to learn this style?
I did go to college. I got an associate's degree in computer science. It had nothing to do with art. Just self-taught. I just got curious. Originally, it was just pencils and inks. I had that book, Draw the Marvel Way. I grew up, so I mean, I did a lot of reading. I did a lot of studying. John Byrne and Perez mostly. Then later, Sienkiewicz. When I started getting a little wackier.
Have you ever had any trouble hitting deadlines, given how how much work it takes to put out a page?
I always have trouble hitting. I mean, I always hit the deadlines, but I always have trouble getting there. I mean, there'll be days I'll be in this tiny little room for 20 hours straight till I'm hallucinating. I'll just...
Sounds like you're married.
Yeah.
Very much like I get there too. You got any advice for any artists who are just trying to get into this?
Definitely publish something small press. I mean, too many people, I think, rely on the portfolio reviews, and very few people actually break in that way. The way they do it now is they narrow it down to like 10 to 30 people that they actually look at from the thousands that submit, and then they're only going to take one or two from that. The best way to do it is publish a book and make sure it's on the editor's desk. Just when that book comes out, even if it's just a 2,000 run, just make sure you send every copy you can to everybody you can.
Pretty much just make a mailing list of any kind of
and be professional about it. Like have a good business letter in front of it with a good letterhead on it, and don't just like write down check out my comic and send it out to them. But
you hear that, kids? It's not just sending a dime bag and a cover letter. It doesn't work that way anymore. Rob Liefeld maybe, but for anybody with any real talent, you actually have to go far and have perseverance.
Dime bag would help, though.
Dime bag might help. Dime bag might get you a little further.
So tell us about Fallen Angel for those of us who don't know about it.
Well, Fallen Angel had its genesis at DC, and Peter David was, and this is me telling it from Peter David, what Peter David told me. I wasn't there. And when it went over to, I guess he always had his own idea who this character was and what the origin was, so when it got canceled by DC and went over to IDW, he's like, now I can tell this story. Right. Now the actual story is she was an angel, one of the guardian angels, and this little girl she was watching, there's certain rules, and you can only kind of whisper in their ears and try to make them do the right thing, but you can't really get directly involved because angels are too powerful, it's not fair, or something like that. And she got involved a little too much, and eventually when things went to shit and the kid died, she got revenge and defied God. So she was cast down. She's still fairly powerful, but she's not the angel she used to be, and she's forced to live down here with the rest of us. Only thing is the earth won't have her either. So a lot of times I'll do a close-up panel where you see her feet like that far off the ground. She's always kind of levitating. And I'm not sure she did end up in Bête Noire, and that story wasn't completely told yet. And I have a feeling Peter is going to tell that story. He told the story of how she was cast down and eventually ended up there, but not exactly what drew her to there. But Bête Noire is a city. It was founded by Cain, the world's first murderer, and all the descendants of Cain are kind of cursed to be the magistrate of the city, to run the city.
Well, I mean, I keep up with the book, and my wife is actually a very big fan. That's true. Some girls do like comic books. Three. I got one. And thankfully she wasn't the one in the wheelchair. But as it goes, sort of like the last season of it ended with a very interesting sort of change in the status quo, which I won't give away for anyone who hasn't read it. I really recommend it. It's collected and it's a pleasure to read and look at. This sort of like third season that you're jumping into, can you give a few hints what readers can expect, what Peter David's got planned?
Basically, the second season that you're talking about was it just ended in a big war, and yet, like you said, a lot has changed. We won't go into exactly what, but this one makes this sort of a good jumping on point because nothing to happen for is really that important. In this, it's mostly Fallen Angel and Illyria. What we have is Illyria from Angel, which was played by Amy Acker, the blue-haired chick, and she ends up in Bête Noire. Okay. And her thing is, if you follow Angel, and all this is explained in the comic book anyways, but if you follow Angel, you know she was kind of diminished in power when she was forced to take the form of the little girl. And she's trying to get her power back. She's trying to become that goddess she used to be. And there's a shady character from Bête Noire that comes up to LA through an elevator, a magic elevator, to Wolfman and Hart. If you follow Angel, you know what Wolfman and Hart is. If you don't, it doesn't matter.
Is it a little weird playing in someone else's sandbox? For those who don't know, Angel was a 5-year TV series done by Joss Whedon, the guys did Firefly, above the Vampire Slayer. It's a little weird playing in someone else's sandbox with characters that have already sort of got an established look or history to them. It
might have been, except I've seen all the Angels. I've watched it all. I've been a fan. And of course, I'm very familiar with Fallen Angel. So no, not really. It was actually kind of a pleasure. I kind of enjoyed like going on with this character and getting more of this character's history, which was only in the television show kind of hinted upon.
Well, I only have one more question for myself, which is about Peter David, because I'm a fan of his work. He's a fan favorite. Is it true that he keeps his creative vigor by devouring younger, less talented writers?
Yeah, you put me in an awkward position here. I'm not supposed to talk about that.
No, supplements 11 years against the subject. That's tough. So this day, unlimited malware, donate, email out, and everything else you might want to learn. Now, the other, these payments are 50% off. I'm there, 50%, your friend.
According to our director Roger, a lot of you guys watch this on, your iPhone and your iTouch and everything, and so Roger made a game for, so you can download it at the Mac store. It's called Battlefleet. And basically, you gotta sink your opponent's battleship before they sink you. I don't even have an iPhone. I'll download it anyway. Is that good?
Yeah, I guess so. Thanks, Pete.
All right.
Right now you're doing obviously fantasy stuff and you're going to be doing sci-fi. Mm-hmm. Do you ever think of doing like Cape and Cowl type of characters and whatnot? Like Superman, Batman, so on and so forth?
I've actually technically have done that kind of thing. I mean, I did an X-Men book with Marvel. I did X-Men Origins, the